If you or someone you know has Neptune or Pisces in their first house, meaning Pisces rising, but more so Neptune in the first house, because Neptune is actually a planet, right, that rules Pisces, so it's going to be more prominent here for this video. If you have this placement, please listen up. This is not an easy placement. People with Neptune or even Pisces in the first house, they have a very vague and unclear sense of self, sense of identity. They are easily influenced by other people's wants, needs, and desires, and they can actually, since they don't have this clear sense of self, sense of identity, they are pretty much adopting someone else's sense of self, or they can become, be, whatever other people ask of them, okay? Because they are so sensitive to other people's needs and wants. A perfect example for this is Marilyn Monroe. She had Neptune in the first house. Yes, she was sexy. Yes, she achieved so much success and whatever, but at the same time, this person actually didn't know. She didn't know who she was. She had Pisces in the 8th house, and yeah, she created that image, that Marilyn Monroe, and that wasn't fulfilling. It didn't bring her happiness. She was only doing that because she had Neptune in the first house. So someone, let's say, can fall for Neptune in the first house person, because that person just becomes anything and everything that the partner wants of them. But then that partner quickly will realize that after some time, that it's not only she doesn't or he doesn't only act this way with me. He also or she also acts this way towards anyone, because they are very sensitive to other people's needs. It's important to understand. It's a very vulnerable placement, if you ask me. And I want to reiterate that this is not an easy placement, because first house is belongs to Aries, right? It is ruled by Mars, and the first house pretty much requires us to disidentify from the crowd and find our own perspective, our own opinion, our ego identity. Pretty much, it actually doesn't have any identity to begin with. Now, this is closely connected with the early upbringing and the connection with mother, the relationship with mother. So if the mother, since early childhood, didn't allow or didn't teach a child how to be courageous, how to disidentify from the public and be unique in your own way, then throughout life, for this person with this placement, Neptune in the first house, it would be extremely difficult, okay, to find their own sense of self, their own identity. That's where they start to kind of get on a journey, of like seeking who they need to become in this world, right? But it all stems from early upbringing and the relationship that they had with their mother. If mother didn't give them the care, that they needed, meaning that the care that they needed is to help them disidentify from everyone around them and find their own unique tendencies and be proud of them, then this person will be abused by people, and people will just tell them who they are. And please be careful if this is your placement, because I really care for people with Neptune, and having it in the first house is not always easy to kind of know who you are. Now, this placement is indicative of someone who is able to merge with something bigger than life. So a lot of mystics are actually seeking to disintegrate their ego. I mean, rather to destroy their ego, right? To get rid of the ego, so that they don't have these boundaries, the boundary between self and the world and God. Now, when Neptune is in the first house, they are already closer to God because they don't have boundaries. They are absorbing all the energies, all the emotions of other people, and they tend to be extremely empathetic, which doesn't always work in their favor, okay? Just be aware of that. It is very important to establish a solid footing in this reality, in the third dimension, and to kind of know the boundaries, what you allow and what you don't allow. But also at the same time, it's risky, I mean, this placement, it works in such manner. When you try to create this solid foundation for yourself, it's like the laws of nature, the world is conspiring against you, pushes you back into this boundaryless person where you don't know who you are, where, you know what I mean, where you're like, as soon as you try to create that, unique self, a solid identity, it's like the things around you, the events, the people that you're attracting are not allowing you to be this way and are taking your ability away to create the solid footing. It's very important to understand and to prioritize yourself in creating, the solid foundation for yourself in who you are, what you allow, what your standards are, what your limits are within relationships. Okay, please understand that. It's also there's tendency for your partners and people who you are connected to, because if you're a Pisces rising, you're going to have Virgo in the 7th house. Those people are more critical of you, which kind of pushes you. The kind of basically the kinds of people you meet tend to be more critical of you, which kinds of pushes you to becoming whatever, like not yourself, changing yourself, constantly adapting, constantly adjusting who you are. And that is basically is indicative of not having a clear sense of identity. Okay, do not listen to any judgment, please, because people who judge you, they actually are projecting their own judgment towards themselves. Okay, please understand that. Now, if your mother has been very caring and nurturing towards you when you were a child eventually, I mean, you may have eventually, had this desire to go and venture out to see what else this world has to offer to you in order to kind of separate yourself from the mother. And here it's important for your mother to allow you to do that. But if mother is, let's say, has OCD, is going to interfere with a child, expressing themselves, and that early experience may actually affect an individual in their adult life, actually in their entire life, in separating from others, because mother didn't allow, and then there's a subconscious expectation of you never separating yourself from the crowd. Does that make sense? So if your connection hasn't been strong with your mother in your childhood, then developing basically a separate sense of identity would be really difficult in your life. But if mother was caring, mother was understanding of your needs, then obviously you would have much an easier time, I would say, to separate yourself from the crowd. Okay, because those early experiences with the mother, in this case with the Neptune in the first or Pisces in the first, is very important. They are very impactful for an individual's life. Okay. So with this placement, right, there's a few ways a personality can develop. So the worst manifestation of it is to be pretty much a drug addict or drink alcohol in order to escape the reality because nobody understands you. The second archetype, the manifestation of personality, may be just someone who is aimlessly wandering, right? Walking around, going about their life, not having a clear purpose. Other personality manifestations may be someone who is holding grudges and is very resentful for other people abusing them, like in the past or in the present moment. Another manifestation would be, an individual who is just waiting for somebody to rescue them or help them out in life. Now, there's good things about Neptune in the first house. I don't want to only say that there's bad things, but with Neptune, you always got to be careful because you don't have any boundaries and people can easily abuse you, okay? You are more likely than anybody else to connect with God, to even project yourself into the astral realm. So the positive things about this placement is that you can literally exit the current 3D dimension, third dimension, and enter other realms, other dimensions, from which you can express your creativity that is in resonance with the people's emotions, their, sadness of other people. And it's a good artistic expression, People can write books, they can be great actors actually with this placement. They're very artistic if they allow themselves to, instead of being abused by other people, let's say, imagine you guys allow yourselves to exit this body, and go into other people's emotions and channel creativity and then show it in your artistic expression. This is exactly how you're supposed to be using it, like Marilyn Monroe. However, Marilyn Monroe, the ruler of Neptune, zodiac sign Pisces, was in the 8th house. That's why she was easily, misguided, okay, by other people. Like when you have Pisces in the 8th house, it's not really a good placement. Pisces is already a very vague sign. It entails very vague and unclear emotions, where a person cannot distinguish between their own emotions and other people's emotions, and that creates this illusion of as if other people's emotions is your problem. You know what I mean? And there's no clear boundaries. Instead of letting people abuse you, because you are so empathetic, just naturally you are born like, you know, a mystic. It's important for you to channel this into your creativity and artistic expression, because you can definitely channel other people. You get motivated actually by other people's emotions, but I just want you not to get stuck on them, you know, and do something with them. Maybe write a book, maybe film yourself. Film content is very, very good for Neptune in the first house, because you can literally put on any mask people want you to. Because people you tend to meet are very judgmental, especially if you have Pisces in the first house. Now, if you do that, it can be very inspiring for other people, you know, just seeing you tapping into different dimensions. It may inspire them to have a, you know, no boundaries between their ego and the unconscious, the world, the universe. Even though other people may not tell you this, but they are very much inspired by your creativity. Some people may be actually jealous because they may consider you as weak, and yeah, they may consider you weak and decide to kind of criticize your artistic expression as a way to kind of make you feel bad about yourself. But in reality, they may be haters. Just be aware of that. It's some people with this placement. You are literally a natural healer. You are someone who can do counseling work. That's the best actually profession for Neptune in the first house. I wouldn't go by the steps of Marilyn Monroe. I would instead, if I had this placement, I would be a healer, a counselor, maybe get a psychology degree, or do some like Reiki. Healing is very important for you to dedicate your life to something bigger than self and bigger than life itself, okay? You're very empathetic, and we see these people are able to dedicate their entire lives to the cause that is bigger than self, you know, bigger than this life, you know, it's the life itself. They don't have the selfish nature. That's what I want you to understand. You guys are not born with it. So that's why you got to be careful, because other people are born with a selfish nature, okay? And they can easily abuse you by seeing, oh, look at her. She is too, you know, empathetic. But in reality, you can read the room, and it may hurt you for people even perceiving you that way as a weak person. But you're not. You're very empathetic. You feel the energies, and instead inspire other people. You can dedicate actually your life to inspiring other people, you know, who have mental health disorders, who have experienced even death in their family, or something very traumatic like a crisis situation. This is what you're good for. Just I'm here to tell you, try not to expend your energy on people who do not listen to you, who do not respect your boundaries. And when they do that, you know, because sometimes people can be good. Like, you may notice that people respect your boundaries, but as soon as you show that empathetic nature, they immediately change, and they think that they can cross your boundaries anytime. That's when I want you to reinforce them. That's when I want you to have this ego identity, because you are like a sponge absorbing everybody's emotions, and you're just born with that natural God in you. You know, something that mystics try to achieve, something that monks try to achieve. You're actually born with it. Now, if you have a Neptune that is close to the ascendant cusp, conjunct ascendant, or 12th house, close to the first house, then a person as a child actually probably didn't even want to come out into this dimension. And throughout life, these people, you know, who have Neptune close to their cusp in the first house, may actually be longing for something else than this world, this third dimension has to offer. They may become monks. They may have this yearning to connect with other dimensions and be maybe priests, or do some, you know, spiritual studies, spiritual practice, in order to, you know, return back to the womb of the ocean, because Neptune represents the ocean. It's like there's a longing to achieve higher states of consciousness and different states of consciousness than whatever the world displays, you know. So there's this spiritual longing, and it is very important. I beg you to incorporate spiritual practices in your routine. Otherwise, I don't think you can stand this world. You won't be able to go about your day, go about your life. You're very sensitive. Please understand, you're not like others. You are born in the environment where there have been secrets kept from you, and they were not telling you the truth about your maybe father, mother, or just reality of life. Also, he's saying that he had seen people who are born with certain conditions already, that is already making their body weak. And you know, usually when we have conditions in the body, that is another indication of us, you know, wanting to go to other dimensions. I mean, that's what kind of triggers a person when they have physical illness, triggers them to become spiritual. So let me know if this resonates, because that last part, I personally haven't met people with these kinds of implications. But if that's you, please let me know in the comments, and let me know if this video resonates. I'll be going over each and every house this upcoming week. The next one is the 7th house, and then we're gonna go in the order of axis: 1st, 7th, 2nd, 8th, 3rd, 9th, 4th, 10th, 5th, 11th, 6th, 12th. So yeah.